Servus and welcome to another episode of the Pro Hockey Pod, episode 29. The theme keeps going here. Another fellow Burlington alumni, residents of Burlington as well. This guy came up through the system there, Burlington Eagles, just like myself. Played for the Burlington Cougars, went on to the OHL, long time in the AHL, and now has transitioned over to Europe finally. And now we were just talking off camera about how the atmospheres are different. He loves it. He's also an honorary member of the Burlington Twist workout group, but we'll get to that later. Welcome to the podcast, Justin Scott.
Thanks a lot, Hersey. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you having me.
So I appreciate you taking the time out of your in-between day, I would say, because in Germany you guys play games on Friday, Sundays. But I always like to go back at the start, just kind of where it began for you. So you obviously you grew up in Burlington. Is that where you first like kind of fell in love with the game, learned how to skate, play, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like you said, born and raised in Burlington. And yeah, I mean, I think I started hockey, can't even really remember how young, 5 or 6, and then played a year of house league, played a few years of single A, and then I just felt like I was always playing road hockey, playing. I just loved it. So my parents, let me try out for the Eagles one year. Ended up making AAA as like an 8-year-old, and then kind of just, I wasn't ever the best skater growing up, but kind of as I just loved it. So it was easy, and it was a lot of fun too. And we always had a good team, and always, a bunch of guys like, I'm sure you keep in touch with your minor hockey buddies and stuff like that. But still great, yeah, good experience for sure.
I'm always curious. So for my age group, like Burlington Oakville were always, the top teams, I would say. And then it kind of went down after that. Like for your age group there, because obviously I believe you're 5 years younger than me. Like, was it kind of the same? Was it you guys in Oakville, or was there other teams that had really strong age groups as well?
I would say like we were mid pack. I would say we were really strong when I first joined the team, and then like the GTHL kind of can pick, and some guys can kind of leave, and not to throw him on blast, but we lost Spencer Martin, the goaltender. He went to the GTHL. That one stung a bit, but we were always competitive, always mid pack, and then if we had a good tournament, we'd end up playing in the finals or something like that. And yeah, I would say, um, yeah, we're always kind of middle of the pack to the top.
I noticed too on Elite Prospects there, like another guy that just actually was in Germany last year, Stephen Harper. Like you guys were teammates growing up there. He's obviously had a very good career as well so far. Is he someone you still keep in touch with a little bit, or?
Yeah, I still talk to Harps almost every day. Honestly, he's still kind of trying to find the right fit for this season. But yeah, he had a strong year last year. You know, I think what this podcast touches on quite a bit is everyone has a different route. He took the school route, ended up playing in the ECHL, got MVP, played some American League games, and last year had a good year. And yeah, I'd imagine he'll probably end up signing pretty soon here. But yeah, it was always kind of me and him together on a line, and yeah, we keep in touch quite a bit.
I remember watching him last year, obviously in Dusseldorf. There, I'm sure he gave you some tips too for coming to Germany since he had done it. But I wanted to ask you. So you end up getting drafted to the OHL there in the fourth round to the Barrie Colts, and like one of the first things I want to talk about was the decision. So you obviously made the jump to play for the Burlington Cougars after, which is Tier 2 Junior A. So at the age of 16, you make that jump. And I'm just curious, like, what was the decision making there for you to take the jump to go to Tier 2 Junior A? And before you play, there's obviously that risk of, hey, like, I'm a young guy. I might not get the ice time that I need instead of going back to midget. Cause that's always a big decision I feel like kids have to make is, do I go to the next level, or do I stay somewhere where I know I'm going to get like a lot of ice time?
Yeah, no, that was a really interesting summer. I think that was a big summer for me because I was really, um, to be honest with you, Harzy, like I didn't really know where, like before the draft year, like where or how I was going to get drafted, and kind of until almost towards the end of the season, I had an idea I was going to get drafted. And then I got drafted in the fourth round. And then, kind of learning like, my dad didn't play hockey or anything. He played fast pitch softball. But he was, very supportive. So it was kind of, you kind of had to learn how that worked. Getting drafted in the fourth round, there is a few guys who can play in the OHL as a 16-year-old. I want to say I was one of the last cuts that year as a 16-year-old. And then that summer, yeah, I didn't really have a place to play, to be honest. Um, from my understanding at that point, Burlington Cougars, they had because you can only have two 16-year-old spots. They were both filled. I tried out for Aurora, but that's, an hour 20 from Burlington. They told me I could be an AP. And then I went to the Burlington Cougars main camp as like, just kind of, I didn't think there was a spot, honestly, but I just kind of used it to, as extra ice and stuff like that. And you know how it is in hockey, anything can open up. And I just had a good camp, and then all of a sudden a spot opened up. And then from my understanding, talking with the coach, and yeah, I guess I had an advisor at the time. He thought it was a good fit, and it was awesome. I loved it. I mean, I went to school at MM Robinson there. The tier 2 rank was the Wave Twin ranks at the time. So that was about 5 minutes from my house, 5 minutes from my school. So that was a fun season. But yeah, there was some ups and downs that year too. But I was happy. Like, we had kind of a younger tier 2 team. We were okay, middle of the pack kind of team, but we were young, and it was great for development, honestly.
Yeah, it seemed like, it ended up being the right decision for you, because I believe you finished fourth on your team in scoring as a 16-year-old, like a very good year for you to kind of get some experience in the junior level and take that step forward, which obviously I think helped you transition the next year to the OHL. But before we get there, I just wanted to ask, like, how was the transition for you? Because like, it's so rare, I think, sometimes for guys like yourself, as I brought up before, when they're 16, we were still coming up through that kind of hierarchy of like, uh, know your place, like you're a rookie, like kind of era. But you obviously, you're known for being a very hardworking guy, and you end up getting all this ice time, end up putting the points. Like, was the transition, you'd say, easy for you, or did you have some like growing pains as well?
Yeah, that 16-year-old year, I would definitely say there was some growing pains. I mean, just understanding junior hockey at that point, it's different than minor hockey where, most of the time you're just rolling the lines. And obviously, certain points they're playing just playing a few guys and stuff like that. But I feel like that 16-year-old year, it was great because, I think I went 10 games without a point during the season. And I just, my confidence just wasn't there. And then all of a sudden, I remember we were in like Huntsville or something playing out there, and I was in the high slot, a puck went off my foot about 15 feet in the air and just ended up in the net. And then after that, I was just flying. Just, it just took one. And then, but no, I would say like, they're definitely like, obviously, in junior hockey at that point, it was, the older guys, they've been around for, they get the respect and all that. But I think for the most part, like, our coach was great. The guys on the team were great. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, I think I found a role with two guys, and we kind of just went off from there. And yeah, we had some good leaders on that team, and it made for a fun year. I mean, um, yeah, getting to play in all sorts of situations and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was looking at your roster. Obviously, Shane Conacher, who was also part of our workout group there, was a very good
Yeah.
player. A couple other guys, Gotsey was there, I think, at some point. Phil Kiss, Alex Murray, and that. It seems like
Oh,
you had like more of like
Godsey was
a
great.
Gotsey, yeah,
Godsey was great when he came, because he came right from the
Peterborough,
OHL.
yeah,
I remember
yeah,
the OHL, and I remember just a quick story of Godsey. I remember someone hit me. I didn't think it was that crazy, but they got a penalty or something. And the Wave Twin, how there's, you can, um, the benches and the penalty boxes are both on the same side, and you could walk across to the other team's penalty box or bench. And I remember the one guy hit me, and Gotsey just, almost walked into the penalty box screaming at the top of his lungs, telling the guy if he ever touches me again, he's gonna kill him. And I was just like, oh, what a guy. Yeah, that was fun.
It's what you need on your team, guys who stick up for you. Um,
Yeah.
but what I was saying was like kind of what you mentioned earlier was you guys had a younger team, so it could have been easier for you also to kind of fit in, and they would be, more allowing of you having that chance than if you have like, all 20-year-olds and 19-year-olds, for example. Like I think you walked into a good junior situation, as you said. Um, I'm curious. So after this year, um, did you know like in your head, or like was it okay, I wanna next year now it's OHL, like I wanna go there, or was there any other plans? Like maybe I could go back to Cougars again. Like what was your thought process after your first year there of tier two?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was a I mean, it's hard. Like it's interesting because like most, at the time I just would always look at guys who were in the OHL. Like during that season, I'd look at, the 17-year-olds in the OHL and like, okay, what kind of points do I need to have? How do I need to play? That kind of thing to kind of see where I would fit in the OHL and if I could make the team the following season. Um, I think the idea of the OHL um, is amazing. The first that was my goal, was to play in the OHL, but then during that season, like towards the second half of my 16-year-old year, I had one firm offer, D1, and then I had a few other schools interested. I went to visit. It was Canisius at the time. They offered me a scholarship, and then I want to say there was a few other um, good schools that were interested, but nothing was really set. And I was really torn because, like I said, like my parents didn't play hockey. No one really in my family played hockey, so it was kind of a hard thing. But then the coach of the Barrie Colts was Dale Howarchuk, and they'd have me that 16-year-old year. I think I went to a practice, kind of skated with them, and they wanted me to play a game, but they didn't offer me a contract. So my advisor, I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And my advisor's like, nope, you're not doing that. So, but yeah, I guess to your question was, when Dale Howarchuk called me and kind of, hockey Hall of Famer, uh, his resume speaks for itself. And I just felt like if I was gonna, make it, this was my opportunity. Um, Great guy to learn from. So yeah, it was kind of a no brainer after Dale called me and we had a talk. So
Good on your advisor though there, because that obviously, once you play, like the eligibility's gone. And it is a tough decision, I will say, because these schools, like, and it happened to me too with like Niagara, so a similar school to Canisius, like they come at you early, offer you, whatever it is, a full ride or whatever. Here's your school package, like we want you. And there's always that decision in your head, like, this costs whatever it does a year, and I have it free for 4 years. And, you know, at the end of the day, we can only go so far with hockey, and it's always something you have to think about. But back to your other point of Dale Howarchuk, like when a guy like that calls you and someone that you can learn from, what you end up doing for the next 4 years there, I mean, I think it kind of, gives you the idea that, okay, like if I'm going to do this, let's do this now. Here's a good chance. And kind of with the Cougars, like you got a chance there, and now you're going to get a chance in Barrie. So
yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, like I said, I mean, he was great. He was his conversation and just yeah, exactly what you're saying. I agree.
and how so now we're going to talk about the adjustment of the OHL. But I like one thing I think is cool to talk about is you came into that team, and your first year, you guys were very good. Like I think you went to the finals and lost to London that year. I remember you had Niederberger, who was a very famous German goalie,
Yeah.
playing over here now in Munich. Scheifele was there, I believe, too. So how was that first year for you? Because like you come into the league, you're new, really good team. I'm sure lots of guys to kind of learn from. Guys who've been drafted, and also you guys make a long playoff run.
Yes. Yeah. No, that was probably one of my most impactful years as far as learning. Um, me coming off a solid 16-year-old year, I kind of just felt like I would go in and just kind of play my game, and but oh boy was I wrong. I so much to learn. Um, and I think no, it was the NHL lockout too. So um, I think we had two guys that were eligible to play in the American League, and we had Shifley, who's I think he was supposed to go up, but he played with us all year. But no, that was I would just say a big learning experience. I thought I worked hard before getting there. I uh, I learned a lot from especially those older guys who were about to make the jump to pro hockey. Just how to work. Shifley was always the first guy on ice. Shooting pucks. He was always working out. I think his billet house had a hockey rink or a little outdoor rink at his in his at the house, so he was always out playing hockey and stuff like that. And so it was great to kind of learn, but that was a struggle of a year, personally, because like you said, we had such a good team. I went from playing consistently on the Cougars the next year, playing a fourth line role with Barry and on a really good team, really deep team. So I wasn't playing as much as I'd like, but I always felt like I had a positive attitude, and I always wanted to kind of latch on to the older guys or the guys who I felt like I could learn from, and yeah, no, it was great. We ended up losing to London later that season, later that postseason in Game 7. I think it was with like zero point 0.1 seconds left. Bo Horvat scored. I was playing in that game. That was crazy. It was in London, and just yeah, it was a cool experience, but man, wish we could have won.
I'd say it's like a good introduction for you because as you said, like you kind of had to a little bit of a wake up call, you'd say, in terms of like, yeah, like, I have to be kind of a role guy this year and I have lots to learn, which I think is good for your development down the road. And I think with a lot of young people, they think they're hardworking until they meet the next guy that works way harder. And then they're like, oh, I guess I could do more. Or maybe I should be doing more. But it's good that you surround yourself with those guys, kind of latch on to them and just kind of pick their brain on stuff. Because obviously, Shifley's gone on to have a very long NHL career. Niederberger's a very well known
Yeah,
German goalie, lots of championships, um, stuff like that. But after that, after that first year, did you feel that when you came home to train that summer, like you kind of knew, okay, like this is the bar for the OHL or for Barry, I'll say, and this is what I need to do this summer to take the next step for my second year?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, but I mean, it was it was disappointing because I kind of imagined, I kind of set myself up for a chance to get drafted going into that 17-year-old year, and it was a little bit disappointing just how my season went, and then watching the draft and realizing there wasn't a good chance I was going to get drafted, which was at the time it was a little bit I shouldn't say discouraging, but I mean it definitely made me feel like, okay, now I got to prove it every single year, and continue to get better. I felt like I always felt it, around that age I could always get so much better, and I still do. Um, and yeah, it made me motivated for the next season for sure.
I wanted to talk about too the setup in Barry. Like, obviously for us, it's whatever hour 15, I think, from Burlington, like
So, yeah,
not too far away. But I think it's one of those really good OHL towns. Like I compare it almost like I was born in Peterborough, so I grew up with the Petes, so I know like the town, everything is Petes. Like that's all there is there. But Barry too, like I talked to a lot of guys, like Hutch, for example, who played there. There was somebody else, I can't remember who, but they just talked about, yeah, like it's all the billets and stuff are in a good area. Like it's a good size downtown. Like everybody went to the same school. Like how was your experience there? Like, did you really enjoy living there and everything it had to offer?
yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. No, Barry itself, like I would say it's the best place to play. Obviously, I only played there, but um, Yeah, they just gave us so many, they just made it easy for us. Everything was close. Billet families were great. I mean, I still talk to, so many people from there. But actually, when I was 17, I was looking forward to, like, I was like, okay, going into my grade 12, I had to leave my school back home. They So I thought I was going to go to the high school in Barrie, which was right next to the rink, whatever. But they set up, I think it was Blythe Academy, so they made us go to a little private school with, I want to say there was like 15 to 20 people in the whole school. It felt like we were in a dental office. Um, just talk about not it. I really it was and the t like it was a different experience. So I didn't get to experience that as far as, getting to meet a bunch of new people and all that. But I guess the positive outlook is, I guess we were with the guys on the team, and they made it accessible to get to our afternoon practice and stuff like that. But the school was still pretty challenging. Like they didn't take it easy on us, um, but yeah, no, so we had a little private school, and then but as the city goes, it's great. Everything's close, like you said. The rink, the fans there are amazing. One of the cooler rinks, I would say, in the OHL. Just um, has a different feel to it than most other teams.
I think it's one of the more perfect like OHL rinks. Like the capacity, the design, I think it fits what the OHL is.
Yeah,
I forgot about that school thing. I should have known that because I remember watching
yeah,
an interview on Ekblad and he talked about it and like when he was getting drafted. I think so. That's funny though. Blythe
I they
Academy.
they might have done it because of Ekblad. Honestly, he was the yeah, just to get Ekblad to the morning skates. But no, it was. I mean, it was. I still have great memories from that, but I definitely would have liked to experience, a new school and stuff like that. But
Yeah, I get your hint.
yeah,
I'm curious too. So I brought it up in the intro. Like we were very fortunate, I think, from Burlington to have a lot of guys who were, either in OHL, NCAA, or pro in the same workout group at Twist. And there was a time there, I don't know if it was a 5 year stretch or 7 year stretch, whatever it was, where, every summer we knew we were all going to get together, we were going to work out together, skate together. Um, I wanted to get your opinion on, like, did you feel that every summer that was kind of like a perfect setup for you because you knew you would have guys both older than you and younger than you? So like the older guys, they would push you to be like, yeah, this is what you got to do to get to pro or whatever. And then the younger guys are obviously looking up to you because you're in the OHL and maybe that's somewhere that they want to be.
yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate you bringing that up. No, I felt like when I trained with you guys at Twist, it was great. I mean, I think we were honestly, I think I just snuck in there. We were the kind of the younger guys at the time, but um, I felt like that summer training with you guys, I want to say I was 18, turning 19. I felt like just, skating and training with older guys, it helped a lot. As far as, we'd work out, then we'd go on the ice, and I think we'd have the ice for 2 hours. And, you, Schwartzy, Flem, Hutch, um, that made it a lot of fun too. We worked hard, but we also had fun. And it was great at that age, it's like, it's huge. You want to skate with guys you know, who are pros and who are, looking to uh, get to the next step, and that's what I felt like. And then going into that next season, I just felt like um, I just definitely could feel like it was a good summer of training. Meaning, it was I was ready to go.
I always tell that to older guys. Like obviously I still have some buddies who play, and I always tell them, when we were growing up, we always had the motivation to skate with the older guys. We had Corey Locke, we had Chad Wiseman, guys like that who had been through it. And it was always so cool to skate with them. And now, like, my age group, at least, is kind of at that stage where we're the older guys. And I always tell them, hey, like, you don't have to do it always, but, give back to those younger guys because those guys look forward to skating with you because they've heard about your career. Like, Juris, for example, a guy who played NHL, like now in Switzerland, like those are guys that all are the younger kids in Burlington have heard about, and now they get to see how they are like both on the ice and off the ice. So I think it's a good circle we have there in Burlington. Like always guys like trying to give back, and like you said, you were younger then to compare to us. Like you had just kind of come into that group, but I think it was beneficial. And obviously, your next 2 years in the OHL, you could see that like you took massive strides. 30-goal season, 28-goal season, 65 points your last year. I wanted to talk about the last year. So you end up having a really good season, and then the playoffs. I mean, you just freaking whoever that guy was on Columbus that this year that had 21 goals and just 2 assists or whatever. You basically went beast mode and just went on a scoring stretch there. You had 17 goals, I think, in the playoffs. So
Yeah, I know, Cy Young. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely touch on it. It was probably the most, um, the craziest part of my hockey career, honestly, because you know, uh, when I was 19, um, going into my 20-year-old year, I just previously had a good year, like you said, um, and I was a passenger that summer. I was a passenger in a car accident. My buddy rear-ended someone, and I kind of did one of these, like put my hands up, and the airbag just broke my wrist. So going into my 20-year-old year, that summer, so as that happened, I think 2 days after I broke my wrist, my agent calls me and he's like, "Hey, like Chicago wants you to go to their development camp." And I'm like, "Well, I'd love to, but I just broke my wrist." And at that point, I was extremely discouraged. I was, I don't know if you remember that at Twist when I had the hand cast going, but no, I ended up just, couldn't do the development camp that whole summer. I don't think I missed a workout. I just did pretty much legs every day. It would be like a rotation, some core, stuff like that, and couldn't skate. And then uh, ended up getting surgery on my wrist. And then I remember my agent's like, "Okay, well, if your wrist is okay and you're ready to go, like they'll have you at their prospect tournament in Traverse City, like Chicago will." I'm like, okay. And I think my wrist, I got the green light like a week before camp. Hadn't really held a stick all summer, um, and ended up just going to Traverse City with Chicago, and just was not, didn't feel good. Didn't didn't have that kind of time. So that kind of led into that season. It was yeah, that whole season I was just trying to get my wrist back and feel like uh, feel good again. And I think I just tried to get better throughout the season, and that led into the playoffs when kind of everything connected. And I think it helped. I was playing with two NHL players. I had Mangiapane and LeBanc on either side, and I was centering. And um, yeah, I think it was just one of those things where everything just everything just connected, and they were finding me, and we were winning games. And I just there was no moment too big, and I was just having so much fun. Um, and I wasn't really sure. I talked to my agent before that playoff run, and I wasn't really sure where if there was an opportunity in pro after, because I had a few CIS schools trying to talk to me. I think I might have talked to one, and I wasn't too interested. I just wanted to play my 20-year-old season out and have no regrets, and just kind of put my head down, and uh, had a great playoffs, and then was fortunate to be able to sign with Columbus after.
yeah, you just brought up a great point. To be honest, I don't remember that injury. Maybe I should. I can't remember if we were still at
It,
Twist then or if we had
it was
switched.
a small cast.
Yeah. Um, but anyways, that's a crazy story and just like kind of, bad bounce if you'd say. And then yeah, like there's no chance you could go to that development camp and, been holding a stick for 1 week and how many ever months. Like, but no, you
Yeah.
raise a good point. I wanted to ask you, had you like throughout the season, I know you just said you were focusing on you just want to enjoy your 20-year-old year because in the end it's your last year in the OHL. You want to enjoy every moment of it, and it's something you can look back on for the rest of your life. But had you also started maybe in the side, like kind of thought like, hey, here's Avenue One if I want to go CIS when I'm done, or here's a chance for pro, or were you like always leaning towards pro? I can't remember. When you played in the OHL, was there that rule that you could play 1 year pro and keep your package still?
No, no, there wasn't.
Okay.
I think it was kind of like I want to say it was the following season. Yeah, no, there wasn't that rule. So it's kind of like go pro or go to school. Um, yeah, no, I felt yeah, I felt like I wanted to um because I still felt like I was getting better and I was still like throughout that year I just felt like my as I got more strength and you know as I was working hard I just felt like there was more opportunities out there and um I was always thinking pro in the back of my mind, but uh, I always wanted pro, I should say, but I knew school because I was going to be realistic too. I mean, if I were to get like a 1 year American League deal for uh, with not great opportunity, I would have went to school. But I didn't really talk to many schools because I honestly just didn't want that like background noise. I remember one time there was a it might have been Laurier or something. They were standing on the bench in one of our practices, and he was trying to get my attention, like the scout or the coach or whatever. And I just was just having one of those days. I was like, nope, I'm not talking to you today. And um, I talked to my advisor before the playoffs even started, and he's like, listen, if you have a good playoffs, like might be able to get you an American League deal. If not, I think I would have went out east if I went CIS and he's like, yeah. So he said, might be able to get you an American League deal, but we'll see. Just go have a good playoffs um, and yeah. So
And that you did.
yeah,
But that no, that's good because it's such a big decision for a lot of guys because there's that I don't want to say like hope, but everyone dreams like I want to try to get the best thing I can have, but at the same time, what you mentioned, like you want it to be realistic. So if you're just getting an AHL deal or maybe an AHL 2A, you would be like, okay, like if I go to school, get my schooling done, I can always maybe do that after. Where you end up being fortunate getting an NHL deal, I believe, with Columbus, which kind of made your decision easier. Um, before we get to that, like, was your agent or was there any rumblings of other teams that were interested too in deals after your last year?
to be honest with you, he only really presented the Columbus one, but from what I saw, I mean that was yeah, not to pump my tires or anything, but that was like the craziest thing. Like going on Twitter after some of those games in the playoffs and seeing Elliot Friedman uh, tweeting about me or I think I was on Coach's Corner twice. That was crazy. Um, with Don Cherry giving me shout outs and I was just so in my own like I was just like, okay, I just want to, you know, finish my 20-year-old year the right way, working hard and trying to win. We had a good team too. I think we lost in the semis, the Eastern Conference Finals, but um, yeah, I mean, that was pretty much my focus, I would say.
Getting a shout out from Don Cherry. I mean, like I can now that you mentioned that, I can definitely see him loving the way you play. So like it would have been Don
It
Cherry's hockey for sure. So
it, it was crazy because I mean, growing up, you know how it is. Every Saturday night you're tuning in, and you're watching intermission because it's Coach's Corner. So, um, yeah, that was a crazy time for sure. But yeah, anyways, my agent only presented me with the one, and it was a great opportunity. I mean, it was Columbus, and then um, Cleveland was still playing hockey at that time, so they weren't really sure if maybe I would slide in and play some games with Cleveland after. I ended up after we lost going to Cleveland that year.
did you I'm always curious because it's such a how do I say this? Like I think it's an important thing and just kind of the mental part of it is when you're done that year and you end up getting this contract, which is great, signing an NHL contract, which so many kids dream of. But there's also that realism of like did you feel you were ready to make the jump to pro? Because sometimes guys like they sign and they're like, oh, like I hope it goes well. And there's guys that are like, no, I'm ready. Like I've done enough in the OHL. I know what to do now.
Yeah, yeah, no, I felt like um, I felt like I was ready. I felt like I was just, had the same mindset where I was like, okay, um, put everything out there and, continue to get better. And the junior to the pro step is a big one, but I think it helped because like I was just saying, like when we lost in the Eastern Conference Finals, Cleveland was still playing. I think they were playing in the second round against Grand Rapids. So I went and joined Cleveland as a Black Ace. But yeah, like just learning to practice with them, like learning the system. It was Jared Bednar who was the coach. Um, he was the coach at the time. He was great. He's always pulling me aside, always talking to him. So I think um, I spent about 6 weeks with that team after my postseason in the OHL. They ended up winning, and yeah, it was just crazy to be even a part of that in a way. Um, and I think that really helped me going into my next season. And I knew I was ready. Um, just seeing what a good team they had, and a lot of guys from that Cleveland team ended up making the jump to Columbus that following season. Um, but I think, yeah, I always felt like I was at that point I was ready for sure.
No, that's good because I think like self-confidence is obviously very important. Like if you don't believe in yourself, it's hard to do well. And what you just mentioned is also excellent. And obviously I didn't remember that was you getting that 6 week experience, even though you were a Black Ace, you're still on the ice every day working with them, working with the coaches and just kind of getting your
Yeah,
foot wet. And then you can transition that into your first full year, which you end up doing the next year. Like you like 23 points your first year there in Cleveland and 58 games. Like that's a very good, I'd say, first step. First year in North American Pro. And I wanted to ask you about like you end up staying 6 years in Cleveland there. Like, did you just feel really comfortable in that organization, like the setup and everything? Because it's rare for guys, I'd say, especially in like the AHL, to stay somewhere for such an extended period of time.
yeah, yeah. No, I ended up just really, really loving it there. I still love Cleveland. Like Cleveland is a sneaky good city. I mean, I don't think. I mean, maybe now it's more opened up where people are like, okay, but um, I mean, from where we are back home, it's a 4 hour drive. The arena where they play in Cleveland is where the Cavs play. So we kind of share that arena. The organization's great. The fans are great. I mean, you could get, you know, more than 10,000 fans any game. But yeah, I mean, I think I just kind of really enjoyed Cleveland. And after, I mean, being on an entry level, so playing 3 years there on the entry level, and then they qualified me for a year, um, and then another 2 seasons after that, I just felt like, um, yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I mean, I think there was three different coaches during my time there, but yeah, it just felt like like a second home in Cleveland for sure.
Did you or any of the boys ever try to convince LeBron to get out on the skates for a practice?
Oh, I don't know if we'd want to see that. I don't know. No, I think what was it Kevin Love came to one of our games one time, and it was crazy because I mean the one year my first year we shared the same room as sorry same we would use their weight room, the Cavs weight room, and we'd kind of see a few other guys around, but it was yeah, it was cool. It was really cool there for sure.
And you end up I did a little research here. You end up playing with a couple Mannheim Adler right now. So McInnes was there with
It
you
was yeah, yeah.
and Hannakainen.
Hannakainen, Marcus Hannakainen.
Yeah.
He's on Mannheim.
Yeah.
Yeah, still learning the Dell League. Wow, I didn't know that. Marcus Hannakainen's on. Okay, would he be an import then?
Yeah, like he's
Finnish, right?
obviously Finnish, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He was here 2 years ago. He came for like half the year, I think, and then last year went back to Finland or
Oh, he's
Sweden, I can't
great.
remember. Yeah.
He's a funny guy. Cool. Yeah, I
No,
didn't
it's
know
just
that.
it's just crazy to see. Like I think it's cool. Like obviously, the AHL, there's lots of guys coming in and out,
Yeah.
like the coast, and you just see guys who, you know, have their stint in North America and then have transitioned over, and you're just starting yours. But no, it's funny to look into that.
Yeah.
what so obviously your last year in the AHL there, you end up going to Colorado. But the year before you have your best season statistically, 34 points with Cleveland. You had been wearing a letter for the previous two seasons. What was kind of your decision to, maybe a little change of scenery there, switch teams, or was it just kind of like in terms of, better offer?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it was a combination of honestly all those things. I think playing in Cleveland for so long, and I don't have any regrets. But playing in Cleveland for so long, they would have had me back again the following season. But I just felt like I was at the point where, I was had a few NHL call ups, no games, and I just felt like I just wanted to kind of experience another organization. Apologies, Harry. Not sure what's going on here. I don't know. Can you hear that?
No, it's all good.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, I honestly felt like I wanted to experience another organization. Colorado was extremely interested. I mean, I signed before, uh, NHL free agency. Um, they offered me a 2 year. I decided to take the 1 year. I think there was a few other teams interested too, but it was actually McFarland who gave me the contract, and just talking with him, I felt like a great fit, and like I said, I just wanted to experience something new. Um, yeah,
They have a cool rink there. Back when they were in the coast, I played there an exhibition game, and like,
yeah.
it was packed, and like the fans were nuts. So like
It,
I'm assuming it was the same in the AHL.
it's no, yeah. We sold out every single game the year before, and um, yeah, just that whole arena. Honestly, I would say if any arena is kind of similar to overseas, it'd be Colorado in a way. They do that minute of madness at the start of the third, where all the fans just go nuts for the first minute. Um, but yeah, no, the city, it's unbelievable. And yeah, like you said, because they were an ECHL team, so they still have like all those little perks like free golf, free car wash, car detailing, dry cleaning, stuff like that, like free coffee. Um, yeah, that's a really cool little area. And I mean, where I lived, I was 15 minutes from the mountains, and it was a cool experience, I would say.
I think that's what you definitely need in those, whether it's AHL East Coast, like, you need a community to surround themselves around the team and kind of bring that atmosphere. And I remember that minute madness, like even in the exhibition game, like they were doing it. And I had been in Europe the year before, and I'm just like looking around and I'm like, this isn't North America. Like, what is this? Like
No, it's yeah, these fans are crazy. Like yeah, I mean, I think when we in the playoffs last year, like tickets were going for like $140. It's like it's a big, because I mean, from Loveland to Denver, I want to say it's an hour and a half, and the fans in that little kind of town and area, they love it. Like it is like it's pretty similar to the Barry Molson Center, like that arena itself, but they uh they do a good job there with the fans, and they're so into the games, and they always have a good team there too.
Yeah, they are always competitive for sure. Um, One thing I wanted to ask you about too was just as I said like early in the podcast, like you've always been known for being like a workhorse, I would say, like you tremendous work ethic, both on and off the ice. Um, like how was that instilled uh, in you? Like was that something that you got from your parents or something you picked up along the way, maybe like embracing different roles, as you said, like your first year OHL, you obviously weren't you were more of a role player that first year with that team being so good. Like is that just kind of how you embodied like, okay, I need to be the hardest worker or one of the hardest workers every day?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Harris. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would just say like, um, I don't know, it's hard. Like, I do have like a really hardworking family in like different aspects, Um, but I just feel like I always felt like I wasn't skilled enough to just kind of go through the motions, and when I was 17, that really hit me when I was, looking around and seeing these guys. And um, uh, I just felt like in order to be the best player I could be, it's based off of hard work and, um, not taking any shortcuts and doing the right things, playing the right way. I still focusing on that, playing the right way, because that's where, I feel like I can create chances. But yeah, no, I would just say like it's something that I feel like I need to have in order to be successful as a hockey player.
I've said it before, but like guys like yourself, with that work ethic and just knowing, how they have to be like I always say it's a piece of the puzzle in order to build like a championship team. So wherever you are, and I think, obviously in Barrie, the 2 of the 4 years there, you guys went to the semifinals of the finals of the OHL, had very successful AHL years. And I think the reason is because you are part of that package, part of that puzzle where you need guys like yourself where, you might have other guys who are skilled but may not work as hard, but you are the guy that's going to go in the corners, get them the puck, but you can also chip in offensively. So it's a good combination, I'd say. And I know personally me, like those are the types of players I like the guys who can do everything. They don't have to be the fucking, guy dangling everybody, but I'd rather have the hardworking guy. And I know a lot of GMs in this league. So definitely a
Absolutely.
testament to you, man. Um, so obviously after your year there in Colorado, like what was the decision process in saying, you know what, it's time for me to go to Europe?
Yeah, yeah, no, that was yeah, I wouldn't say it wasn't a great year. Personally in Colorado, we ran into we had a bit of a vet issue where, when you cross that path in the AHL, you can only have four guys with over 320 pro games played. And I think at one point in the season we had nine of us. So it was just a really weird season. It was a really fun year, but it just wasn't honestly a great fit. But yeah, no, my decision on coming over here, it was, um, I think, like you said, actually, I earlier in the podcast talking with buddies who've played in this league, Stephen Harper and guys like that. I mean, I was definitely open to coming overseas because, and even talking to Schwartzy, he mentioned that you don't quite, um, you kind of wish you'd go over earlier at some point, just with the experience over here and how great it really is. And I felt like I could have waited and stayed in the AHL, but once I talked to the GM here in Straubing, um, and kind of hearing from other guys who've played in this league and who kind of know Straubing, I just felt like there wasn't really, you do the pros and cons. There wasn't really too many cons. Like it was just I was excited and coming here and everything's first class and they're treating us so well and it's uh yeah, I feel like almost rejuvenated almost coming over here. It's a different experience, but I'm really enjoying it.
I was talking to Schwartzy yesterday just at lunch, and we briefly touched on this, but I think it's something where guys who've never been to Europe, they're kind of hesitant or maybe they're a little scared because they hear like the horror stories from maybe the lower leagues and they're like, oh, I don't want to get into that. But realistically, when you go to leagues, Switzerland, Sweden, Finland, Germany, and the top league, like as you said, guys are wherever you go, you're treated well, like housing, car, flights, all that stuff. And then you obviously make good amount of money and it's also tax free. So like compared to if you're playing in the AHL, like you're losing a lot of it to taxes. So like
Oh yeah.
um it's definitely different. Like, yourself, like you're in a country where the English isn't the first language, but they can speak English.
Yep.
But if you're
Yep.
willing to adapt to it and just kind of embrace their culture, how they do things. And, there's obviously stuff that everybody likes and things that they don't, but it's obviously great. And I think it allows guys to prolong their career too, because the AHL grind, I could say, like, you guys are doing 3-3 sometimes, like the travel, like that wears on you year after year. Where in Germany, it's, you're playing 2 games a week, one home, one away most times. Like it's Friday, Sunday, maybe the odd weekday game. Like, you know, able to travel
Yeah.
lots of places. Like it's just a different atmosphere.
It's crazy, man. Like we played 8 exhibition games, which were they were spread out. I mean, we've been kind of in training camp for a month, but we went to Italy, to Bolzano to play, that little tournament there. Then we played in Austria a few times, and just the travel, like you said, like the housing, like everything was just it's everything's first class. I mean, you get off the flight, they take you to your place, they give you your car, um, and then you're kind of just off with it, and it's just and I think Straubing is a really cool little city. I mean, I'm really enjoying it. Um, I would say it's like half and half English to German, but it's yeah, I'm looking forward to, like you said, like traveling a little bit on some of the breaks because I know we have a bit of time, and everything's pretty close here if you want to go to Austria or Italy and stuff like that.
Hopefully, I'm sure your team will do it, but hopefully you guys will plan Oktoberfest here in the next couple of weeks because that's a
If
good experience, and every year all the teams do it. So, you
well,
know,
they had the Volksfest here,
oh
which is
yeah,
like I guess like the second biggest one, but like to have that in the city, so we kind of I get off the plane, I go to the rink, and right across from the rink, there's all these tents, and I'm just like I kind of heard about it, so I'm like this is crazy. Like there's a big Ferris wheel, and we experienced that a few times, but um, I was happy when when they left because that was a long few weeks. I mean, I only went a few times, but it was just chaos 24/7. But I think there is a little Oktoberfest day planned here soon, which I'm looking forward to. I think Munich's only an hour and a half away.
no man, it's enjoy it. It's fun. Embrace it. Just try everything. I would say you guys will have fun. So I'm not worried about that. That's part. I think that's
Yeah,
part of being in Europe, man. Like go experience these things because you'll look back on them 20 years from now and be like, oh man, that was fun. That was so cool. I did that. Um,
absolutely.
all right, I got three more for you, and then I'll
Yep.
let you enjoy the rest of your day here. Big game tomorrow, but I always ask guys who are in the kind of in the middle of their playing career, like how long do you plan on playing for? Have you thought about that, or are you just kind of taking it, enjoying the experience, enjoying the ride?
Yeah, I think I'm just enjoying the ride right now. I mean, I can't see myself um, you know, finishing my career anytime soon. I think I'm just enjoying it, and I just want to continue having fun with it. Um, so I don't really have a timeline. I would say, you know, minimum 3 to 5 years, but I feel like, you know, hockey's kind of everything I've known. So I would like to play it as long as I can.
Play as long as you can. That's what I will tell you. Because
Yeah,
when you're done,
yeah,
when you're done, you miss it.
100%.
And then another, like I guess a second part of that question, and if you haven't, it's totally okay. Have you ever thought about when you will be done eventually, like what you would like to do?
Yeah, yeah, I have. I would always like to, have the option to, you know, not, if at the end of my career I don't want to, be a part of hockey, and I want to do something completely different. I want to have that option, but I can't see myself not being involved with hockey. I mean, a few years ago, actually, when COVID was going on, I did that firefighting course through Festi, and the American Hockey League kind of sets that up with, a group of hockey guys, and that was a really cool experience. I think I'd have to touch up on a few things before I would start applying anywhere, but I mean, I really enjoyed that course. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's just a matter of, can you get in, um, and what do I need to do to even start applying? So um, I like that as a backup plan. You know, staying in hockey, I would like to do, but I don't want to feel like I have to.
It's definitely fair, and I think it's good to, when you're done, you'll kind of have like one foot in, one foot out. So you still have, whether it's working minor hockey or some other form, and then the firefighting is great,
Yeah,
man. Like so many ex-hockey players get into that, and they love having those guys because they know that they can handle the workload. They're always in good shape. They understand like teamwork, putting the goal first over themselves. I know a lot, like obviously Broler is in that,
Yep.
and
Yep.
a couple other guys, but no, I feel if that's what you wanted to do, you won't have, especially with your resume, because they get heated rivalries with the police game, so they'll be wanting to add a hardworking guy like yourself to their
Oh,
lineup. So
yeah, I'd love that. No, but yeah, so I would like to have that as an option for sure. Appreciate that.
that's good, man. And then last one here before I let you go, I like to ask all our guests this. I think it's good to kind of hear their thoughts on it. But what is either one piece of advice, or if you have multiple piece of advice you would give your younger self and maybe the younger generation? So if you're speaking to Justin Scott at 15, 16, 17 years old, like what are one or multiple pieces of advice you would give?
Yeah, I would say just myself, and yeah, I mean this is for everyone. I just feel like everyone has a different route. I feel like, when I was younger, I was pretty set on, I thought it would be minor hockey to the Cougars to the OHL to the NHL, but everyone has a different route, and it starts off, working hard and enjoying it. It's super cliche, but yeah, don't get too set on kind of having your how do I say this? Um, yeah, I would just keep an open mind and just really enjoy the process, because it is a lot of fun. And like you said, and I feel like that's the reason you started this podcast, is to kind of touch on people's careers, and because you miss the game when you're away. So uh, just have fun with it, and enjoy it.
Cliche, simple but true, man. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not difficult. I think it's as long as you can enjoy it, and as I said before, one day it'll be gone. So you want to make sure that you've enjoyed every minute of it and embraced everything that happens. And someone like yourself, like I I highly doubt you would have thought, just regarding what your agent even said to you going into your final year of your OHL, your agent's, saying, maybe I'll get you an AHL deal, and you end up signing an NHL deal. I don't think going into that season in your head, you're like, yep, NHL deal at the end of this year. Like, it just,
no chance. Yeah, no chance.
so
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's good, man. I'm excited to see you this year in Straubing. Obviously, we'll be seeing each other at the games, and
Yeah, we'll be seeing you around. Looking forward to it, man.
yeah, just
Wait,
try not to score against us. I appreciate that.
are you guys coming to Straubing first?
I can't remember.
I'd have to, yeah, I'd have to look too.
I don't know, but we'll be seeing each other at least four
Awesome.
times this year, I believe, because
Yep.
throughout the season. But no, man, I appreciate you taking the time here, giving your advice and sharing your story. And yeah, as I said, good luck this year, and we'll be seeing you.
Thanks for having me, Hairsy, and keep up the good work, man. We'll be seeing you around.
Thanks, buddy. I'm looking forward to it. And for those listening, give us a follow on Instagram. Check us out on YouTube. Until next week, cheers and ciao.